Hello and welcome to our introduction to the science fair. Here are the steps to follow. Identify a topic, establish the purpose or question, write the hypothesis, design the experiment and list the materials, run the experiment and collect the data, summarize the results and research, write the conclusion, and design your board and share your experience with others. When selecting your topic, think about what interests you. What are you curious about? What do you have around the house? The example for the video will work through mold growth. To establish the purpose or question, choose two variables or factors that relate to your topic. How does changing one variable affect the other? Write an open-ended question about the two variables. Don't write a question that can be answered with yes or no. Our example variables will look at temperature and mold growth. Our purpose, how does temperature affect mold growth? What are these variables? The independent variable is the condition or factor that you select to change during the experiment. For our example, our independent variable will be temperature because that is what we are going to change. The dependent variable is the condition or factor that you expect to change during the experiment because of the changes to the independent variable. For our example, our dependent variable will be mold growth because we expect that to be different at each temperature. Finally, the control variables are anything else that might affect our result. It will be important to keep these as consistent as possible during your experiment. For our experiment, our control variables will include food type, food size, container, and time between checks. We don't want these to affect our results. Now that you've identified your variables, it's time to write the hypothesis. What are you going to change about your independent variable? How do you expect that to change the dependent variable? What is going to happen in your experiment? For our example, our hypothesis is if the temperature decreases, then the mold will grow more slowly. Here are some questions to consider when designing your experiment. How are you going to test the effects of your independent variable on your dependent variable to answer your question? How are you going to change your independent variable? What are you going to measure or record about your dependent variable? How many times are you going to run your experiment? What are you going to need to complete the experiment? Here's a procedure for our example. Cut 3 strawberries in half. Put 1 strawberry in a bowl on the counter, put 1 strawberry in a bowl on the refrigerator, and put 1 strawberry in a bowl in the freezer. Observe each strawberry every day for 5 days and measure with the ruler the mold growth. Record your observations and measurements. Take a picture of each sample every day to compare. So materials we'll need will be 3 strawberries, a knife, 3 bowls, a refrigerator, a freezer, a ruler, and a camera. Now it's time to run your experiment. Here are a few things to consider. It's okay to change your procedure, just make notes on what you had to change. Allow yourself enough time to complete the experiment. Don't start too late. Run more than one trial if possible. Record your observations and exact measurements. Make a data table before you start. Document the process. Pictures are great additions to your final board. Now summarize the data you collected. What trends, if any, do you see? How are the two variables related? Do some research to see why your independent variable did or did not have an effect on your dependent variable. Try to summarize what you find. Ask for help if you need it. Now it is time to write your conclusion. Restate your purpose and hypothesis. Summarize your experiment. What did your data tell you? Was your hypothesis correct? What other questions do you have? What future experiments could be run related to yours? Finally, it is time to design your science fair board. Here are a few final reminders. Start early and know your due dates. Ask for help if you get stuck. Use your rubrics and checklists to make sure you have everything. Check online for ideas and examples. There's lots of resources available. Most of all, have fun. Good luck!